Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the flat circle with a double crochet, that's in UK terms, which is a single crochet in the US terms. But throughout this video I'm going to work in UK terms, so just apply it if you're in the US. Now in my previous video, I showed you how to make the flat circle using a treble crochet. And we also did 4 chain to start in the center, and we made this little loop there to crochet into, and it produces this little hole. And sometimes when you're crocheting, that can be quite effective, and there are other times when you really don't want this hole. So for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet in the round, and we will use the magic loop. And as you can see, you pull it tight and you don't have that hole. Obviously you secure this, you sew it in really securely, and then that doesn't work its way open anymore. And I'm also going to show you how to make it a perfect circle, and so that it doesn't just become a hexagon shape. So I just try to debate whether you'll see enough with this yarn or whether I need to do it in the blue. I think the blue might be a little bit better, so we'll use the blue. So I'm using just a double knit yarn, any will do, and a 5mm crochet hook, and these handy snippers. So in my previous video I showed you how to make the magic loop, and I went into a lot of detail how to do that. So if you want to watch that video first and familiarise yourself, then please do. But I make a loop, insert my hook and pull the yarn through, and then simply just do 1 chain, and then I tug on this a little bit to make it smaller because we don't want a massive loop to work into, and pull out some yarn. Get that so it doesn't get confused. So in this particular first round, we're going to make 6 double crochets. And I just want to make this as tight as possible because I don't want you to be confused and go into this one. So how we do a double crochet is to go into the ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Now I want to make 6, but I just want to show you that while you're new to crochet, if you wanted to, you could just insert a stitch marker into that first stitch, and then you won't be confused where you've got to slip stitch into to join it. You don't have to do that if you're quite happy, but you know, it would help if you're new and you're not used to looking at it. So at any point, I do apologise, my boiler's just kicked in, hope that's not too loud. If at any time this ring seems a bit loose, just pull on this tail here, but we're going to work over it, which forms this magic ring. So that's 1, and so remember it's into the ring, yarn up, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So that's 2 for me. 3, 4, and this one is 6. To apologise if my counting was getting on your nerves. So if we pull this just a little, not all the way, then just to get this a little closer, you can see exactly where you need to slip stitch into. It's into this stitch here. So I'm going to take that out and oops, get off, and I'm going to slip stitch by inserting my hook, yarn over and pull through both, and then we have our slip stitch. Made that a little bit baggy, didn't it? So let's go back and do that again. Tighten that off, slip stitch into that first stitch my yarn over and pull through the loop. So now we've got our ring, and you can just get this tail and pull it tight, and you can see it's closed, completely closed. Now while you're working, this may work its way looser, and if that happens at any time, just pull on it, and at some point you can go back and just secure that. But I always secure it very, very well, because if it does loosen, it will make this hole bigger. So in this round, we do our 1 chain to turn and pull it so it's very small, because we don't want to confuse it with our stitches. And you can count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is our first stitch. Now to increase, we always increase by the exact same number of stitches that we have. So we have 6 stitches, we need to increase by 6. So we do 2 of our double crochets in each stitch around. That's 1 and 2. And we do that in every one of our stitches all the way around. And then at the end of that round, we will have 12 stitches. Now these flat circles made with a double crochet, they're ideal for making toys with amigurumi. I've seen hats, coasters, scrubbies, all sorts of things with this stitch. I'm just going to pull out some more yarn. Okay, so 2 in each, and if at any time you get confused, just look at your stitch and you'll see whether you did 2 in that last one or 1. It's you can just see it there, see? Those 2 in there. So I'm coming up to the last. Here we are. In trouble getting it in. Always seem to on the last one. So there's my 2. And I should have 12. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So that there is my first stitch. So if you don't use your stitch marker, you can always have a look and see by counting. So there we are, we go into our first stitch by making a slip stitch, and we've made our first round. So as I said before, each round increases by 6, by the same amount that you started with. So we want 18 stitches in this round, and we'll do that by making our chain and tightening it off, and we'll go into our first stitch, and in this round we will do our increase into our first stitch. And then in the next one we're going to just put 1 double crochet, and in the next stitch we'll put 2 double crochet, and then in the next stitch the 1, and we'll carry on like that all the way around. 2 then 1, 2 then 1. And if I go ahead of you, sorry, at any time, just pause the video to catch up with me. Try not to go too fast. But just hit pause if I do. So as we finished, as we started with 2 with our increase round, we should end with a single. Oops, I dropped my stitch. Bear with me 1 second. With our single in the next one, which does look a little tight there. Hard to get in. I always find my end one is a little on the tight side, but I will get it in. Maybe. There we are. And then we'll slip stitch into our first stitch, which is this one here. Do our slip stitch as normal. Now in this round, to keep it from becoming shaped like a hexagon, our first stitch will not be an increase. So we do our 1 chain and tighten it off. So in this stitch, we're just going to do 1. And if you want to put your stitch marker in there, like this, then by all means, please do. And you'll see where you have to slip stitch into. Don't have to do that, but just in case it helps. So in this round, to increase by a further 6, instead of doing 1 on its own, we're going to do 2 on its own. I should have made my loop a bit smaller there, sorry. So that's the second of our single double crochets. And in this one, we're going to increase by putting 2 double crochet. And then in the next 2 stitches, we just have 1. It's very hot in here. If you can hear this yarn squeaking on my hook. I do hate it when it does that. It makes my teeth go on edge. So then we've done our double one, so now we're going to do 2 single ones. And we carry on like that, all the way around. You may have seen a pattern forming here. And if you have, well done. Oh wow, that's squeaky. It's very hot in this room. And I daren't put on a fan because it'd be too loud. Let's get some more yarn out. So, in that particular round, we didn't start with an increase, so obviously we now need to end with our increase. Again, tough to get into for me. 1 and 2. So, rule of thumb is if you start with an increase, you finish without an increase. So you slip stitch into your first, I have to take that out I think. It's very hot. Missing all this nice weather being inside. So we slip stitch into that first stitch. There we are. So again, we didn't start with an increase on that round, so we increase our first stitch on this round. And the pattern, if you've noticed, is the first time we increase by doing 1 single double crochet in between our increases, and then in the next round we did 2 in between our increases, and in this one we're going to do 3. So I'll do my chain to start with, and in the first stitch I will do 2 because we didn't increase first stitch, and now we'll make 3 on their own in the next 3 stitches. And then in the next one we're going to do 2 into our increase, and by alternating it at the beginning where you do your increase at the start or not, you then shift where your increases are. If you're at the same place all the time, then it will become shaped like a hexagon. But if you're alternating that all the time, then it will stay shaped like a round. You'll always see a little tiny bump where there was an increase, but it doesn't, otherwise it just does really look like a hexagon shape, and you know, sometimes that you really don't want unless you're making a hexagon. So we'll do 3 and then 2. And you do that all the way around until you get to the start. And I'm going to pause this video and meet you back here because I'm sure you don't really want to hear me waffle on all the way around this round. So I'll meet you back at the start. Okay everyone, so I am now almost back at this end, and I've just done my last increase, so I'm going to do my 3 on their own. And they're into my last one. There we go. And then slip stitch into our first stitch, which is this one. And there we go. And you can see that it's forming a nice circle, not at all shaped like a 50p or a corner hexagon. And we just keep going in this vein. So the next round, if we're going to keep our increase in, we'll have 4 on their own between our increases. And as we started with an increase in this round, we don't increase on the next round. So we start with a single in here and we do 4. 1. I'll try not to count because it's very annoying if you're not going at the same pace and somebody is counting. So that's my 4th one. And now I'm going to do my increase. And then again 4. And then an increase. So I'm going to pause the video because there's nothing worse than deadly silence, and I will meet you back at the start. But just remember, we have our increase and then 4 single ones in between in the next 4 stitches. So I'll pause now and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so I've made it all the way around, so I just need to slip stitch into my first stitch. So there we are, and you've guessed it, the next round. You can see there that you've got this little bump, but it's not as bad as, and you can easily pull it into shape, but it's not as bad as if we were increasing in the same stitch each way around. It would then take on a proper hexagon shape. So the next round in between would be 5 in between our increases, the following round 6 in between our increases, then the following 7, and so on until you've reached the size you want. Of course, if you're making a leg of a toy, at this point, if that was how flat you wanted the bottom to be, you would then just simply stop increasing and it will come up. It goes out a little bit first and then it comes up and makes like a tube with a flat bottom. So I hope you like this tutorial and it's been easy to follow. If I could ask you please to like and share it. And if you would subscribe to my channel, that would help me so much. And hit on that notification bell and you should be notified when there's a new video coming out. I'm planning lots and lots and lots of content. So that's you know, if you want to find out when that'll be, then please hit on that bell. Also, I do have rather lovely giveaways and other bits and pieces on this channel to interest you. So just check it out and please subscribe. I do have a giveaway going on at the moment. Obviously, you could be watching this at some point in the future, but I will be planning to do them quite often. And they are lovely yarns. And some of the yarns that I'm getting you can't get in the US. So please do stay tuned and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, bye-bye for now.